Hello, hello everyone. How are you doing? How is everyone? How are you? Is a good Saturday? I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just rambling at this point. Hope you're all doing well. Hey there, Zach. Um, yeah. What's up, everyone? I just got here. I've been sitting at my computer for probably about an hour waiting for the stream to happen because most of the time I do these streams, I prep like 10 minutes before the stream. And then I'm just like, I'm rushing to get things done. And then I like get on stream and I'm like, oh, thank God, okay. I got here relatively on time. But this time I woke up to a calendar notification saying I was going to stream and I was like, wow, look at me being a planner. So I spent the whole morning prepping for the stream and then I like finished at like 11. It's noon where I am. And I was just like, well, what do? I just sit here, I guess, until it starts. So I'm happy that the stream's actually starting. You just discovered my channel 15 minutes ago? Yo! Okay, I don't know what's going on, but YouTube keeps recommending my channel, like, to everyone right now, and I haven't posted a video in like 6 months, right? I've had a video I've been working on for 6 months, but life has just been like really, really busy for me. And stuff should not be happening. Like, I feel like I shouldn't be being recommended to people given how inactive I've been. But, I don't know. For some reason, YouTube is, like, showing the video to a lot of people, which I'm not complaining about, but it's good. It's good. Welcome. Yeah, the texture video. That's, like, the big heavy hitter. The impressions graph is super weird for it. Also, hi, Japion. How you doing? Sorry, I missed your message there. Like, I can show you guys the analytics, because I think it's kind of weird, and I don't actually understand why it's happening. Also, if my mic is really bad, let me know. I have, like, a fan running full blast, because it's, like, 30 degrees outside. So, I'd like to keep that on, but if it's absolutely fucking up the mic quality, then I'll turn it off. But yeah, like, this is the textures video, right? Over, like, the lifetime that it's had. And for some reason it's like showing it to 300 people a day right now. I don't know why it's doing this, but it's happening. It's like the impressions just spiked for some reason last 7 days. It showed it to like 8,000 people yesterday, which is not typical for like an old video. Like, this is what the impression spikes have looked like, right? There was like one here, then one when I released my second video, and then nothing, and now for some reason. The only thing I can think is just because like I've been streaming and getting more engagement on the channel here, but, you know, I'm not complaining. Building my own engine with OpenGL and ANSI, so I've been loving graphics programming content lately. Yeah, the graphics programming, like, subculture of YouTube I found has really been popping off. That's actually what got me to make my first video, was because I just kept seeing so much graphics programming content on YouTube, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. I could do this too. Like, I've got this engine I've been working on, you know, just basically silently. It would be cool to make something about it. Video is really good, that's why it's going good. Oh, thank you so much. I don't have as much confidence, but maybe that's just because I see all the things that I could do better. I'm really hoping that I can pull off my second video a lot more well, a lot better. I don't know. I've been working on it for like the last 6 months, but I've been really busy because of university. And it's almost done. I've finished all the visualizations, I've stabilized all the real-life footage. All I need to do is record lines, but I had COVID like 2 weeks ago, which completely fucked up my voice, and then now I'm normal again, but I just happened to lose my voice on Friday. So I've just been like, oh, great, that's very helpful, thank you. But as soon as I feel like well again, I'm gonna record all my lines, and then hopefully I should be able to get that one out soon. It's only been 7 months. You know, I set myself a New Year's resolution in January to release a video a month, and this first one, that is still not done, was meant to be out by the end of January. So, you know, I'm just kind of taking life as it comes. What do I study in university? I am a comp sci student. Wait, why didn't your message show up on the... Oh, is it chat box under the... No, the chat box is here. Your message shouldn't show up on the screen, or I just missed it. Yeah, I'm studying computer science. I'm in 4th year, technically. I mean, like, it's a 4-year program, but I'm gonna end up being there 5 years because I got a job offer. like earlier this year, and they basically said they'd fund my university if I worked with them at the same time. And so I was like, okay, fine. So I'm kind of stretching out the remaining year of my degree into like a year and a half to make that possible, because trying to do a full semester like course load at university and work 30 hours a week is not very viable. But yeah, I graduate in the middle of 2025, which is exciting. Yeah. But yeah, I've been really loving like doing the YouTube stuff. This is kind of pathetic, but I check every day. Like, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, ooh, I wonder how the YouTube numbers are doing. And then I look at them and I go, wow, or I go, aw. It's like, I know it's very shallow, but seeing that people are interested in what I'm doing makes me really happy. So it's always really cool to, like, chat with people on stream and hear about, like, their experiences with programming and how, like, YouTube is for some reason showing my stuff to them. It for some reason thinks it's worth showing. So that's really cool. Yeah, but so last... Oh, good luck, I'm still in high school, so I'll probably do computer science as well. Yeah, that was when, Oh, you're in high school and you're working in... Wow, okay, that's very cool. I started programming in high school around... Well, technically I started with Java when I was like 10, but I couldn't understand any of it, so I gave up very shortly after. And then in like grade 9 in high school, I like first messed around with Game Maker Studio, which has its own scripting language that's kind of like Python called GML. And from there, I kind of branched out to Java and C and everything. So yeah, I mean, if you're already doing programming in C in high school, you're definitely on the right track. And honestly, I don't know where you live, but at least in Canada here, having any sort of prior experience and then going into like the comp sci program makes the entire thing like trivial. Like the stuff you're learning right now just by like self-teaching and doing C stuff is probably the extent of the programming stuff you're going to learn in university. And then it's just going to be a shit ton of calculus, which really sucks, but you know, maybe you're the type of person that likes calculus, I don't know. Yeah, but good luck with that. That's really exciting. So in between this stream and last, I fixed, well, we fixed the bug last stream where, like, the wireframes would crash the game, which is good. And then, in between the last stream and the current one, I added a bunch more world edit commands, because I assume that people here are probably familiar with Minecraft, given that I'm making a voxel game and it's the single most popular game in the world. But I'm making a world edit mod mainly for creating structures for my own game, because world edit is very ergonomic for like just doing things with, and then I need some way of creating structure content and saving it to files, and I figured I may as well just make it like a general mod that is like world edit, right? So I can create my selection here, and I added a bunch more world edit commands, so I can do like expand 10 up, and that expands the selection, right? I can set air. I could like expand 1 down, and then I could go like set grass 5. Oh, okay, hold on, undo. Did the undo not work? Oh yeah, hold on. The air. Had to get my pizza, I'm back. Ah, nice. Okay. I was just saying, oh man, okay, I don't know how much I missed. No worries. Expand 1 down. Replace grass 5. Yeah, world edit. Wow. So I added a bunch more commands since last time, which should hopefully make working on creating structures easier, including like a give command, which is really, really useful because previously I had no way of selecting blocks other than pick block. So just having like a quick and dirty way of going like give dirt and then having dirt is very helpful. And of course I have the wand command to give me the world edit wand back. This looks a lot like world edit in Minecraft. Yeah, it is. So basically this mod is actually just straight up called world edit. So what I'm working on right now is I'm doing a self-directed study in university to create a structure system in this engine, which I basically came to them with like some ideas for how to create interesting algorithmic structures that like Minecraft structure system can't create because it doesn't have the sophistication to do it. And I got a prof to agree to run a self-directed study with me, which is basically just where they moderate that I am in fact doing what I said I was going to do, and then I get credit for it. But to actually test the structures, to be able to like make structures and test that, I needed some sort of interface for creating and saving schematics. And I was just like, okay, well, I'm gonna implement world edit in my voxel engine, because then I can like manipulate the world and then save the structures, right? So like, for example, what structures do I have? I think I have... they're all in the file system right now. We just implemented structure saving a couple days ago. Home. Okay, if I just go like load home, that should load it to my clipboard. And then if I just go like, I don't know what the offset is. I think it's like right here. If I just go paste. Yeah, there we go. So I just loaded that home schematic from this file, which basically just has a list of all the block data in a very inefficient format right now. And then it just puts it in the game, which is great. And so today what I want to work on is, right now those structures, those schematics are just fixed, right? So like, those are the exact blocks that I placed and then saved. So what I want to work on right now is basically adding jigsaw blocks, if you're familiar with them, where you can have a structure reference other structures with weighted probability to spawn at various positions. So like, I could say like, oh, this house has like a 30% chance to spawn with a front garden, or a 20% chance to spawn with a lake, or a 10% chance to spawn with nothing, or a 50% chance, 40% chance to, I don't know, have a path, right? Jigsaw blocks, I hope they don't want to play any games. Jigsaw blocks, I don't... I'm sorry, what? I hope they don't want to play any games. Yeah, I know what they are. Unfortunately, I used them for a Minecraft map once. Yeah, so, unfortunately is a very fair assessment. Minecraft's jigsaw blocks are terribly engineered and don't properly explain what they do. Like, I know they're an internal developer tool, but still, it's kind of shit. So, is this Minecraft in C++ with a speed boost? Kinda. So it's a voxel engine, which is written in C++, but all of the game content is defined in JavaScript. So like, every block and entity in Skybox and everything else is actually defined in JavaScript. And the idea for that is that then you can like have a bunch of mods and you can send them over the network to other clients, and then you don't have to do any sort of like validation or worry about viruses because it's all sandboxed and in JavaScript, and you get the speed of C++, but the flexibility of defining content in a scripting language. That's basically the goal of the project. Oh, Jigsaw from Saw. Yeah, I've never seen the Saw movies. They're, I like horror, but I'm not a huge fan of gore, so I've never really broached those, because from what I understand, that's basically what they're all about. But yeah, so jigsaw blocks. So Minecraft's structure system, I'm just explaining this for the other people that don't know, is such that when a structure generates, it can have blocks at various positions in it that can spawn other structures with weighted probabilities. And those structures can also have jigsaw blocks in them to spawn other structures with weighted probabilities. So like the end cities, for example, they kind of grow out of the stem and keep like spreading out and expanding, and that's all with jigsaw blocks. Like, every piece has several different attachment points that have a chance of spawning another piece. But Minecraft's structure system is quite limited in that it doesn't have any sort of state or, like, bounds to it, constraints, other than I think just that pieces don't overlap. So, like, that causes a lot of structures to feel very strange and not designed. Like, the end city, sometimes you can find an end city that literally goes nowhere. Like, it's just one piece at the base, and there's no loot, there's no nothing. And other times you can find one that's absolutely fucking massive. And then the new trial chambers that they're adding, like, they don't have an entrance, and they don't have a boss room. They just have a bunch of random rooms with random loot, because they can't actually structure the structures. You know, they're structures, but they can't put any sort of flow in them, because all they can do is just have a chance to put another piece next to the first piece, and then expand outwards, which is very limiting, right? So disappointing to finally find an end city, but it's nothing. Yeah, right? Like, you travel for so long and then you get nothing, and it feels very, like, empty. So the structure system I want to make basically has, it has jigsaw blocks as well, but it also has the addition of counters, which will effectively allow you to bind the sort of distribution of structure blocks. I wonder if they added the jigsaw blocks for the new dungeons they added. Yeah, they did, and that's kind of why they're jank and weird. But my idea is that, like, structures can define counters, and then any sort of jigsaw blocks can base their conditions off of the state of the counters, and all of the counters have to be resolved to 0 before the structure can be generated. So as a really basic example, imagine if you wanted to have like a fairly linear dungeon with a boss room at the end, and then a locked door, and then a key room, like a room with a key somewhere before it, and then the entrance. You could start with the boss chamber, assign a counter called like locked doors to 1, and then as it's creating rooms going backwards from it with structure blocks, it has a chance with the like weighted probabilities to say, okay, if locked doors is greater than 0, spawn a locked door. And then if that locked door room spawns, then it assigns a counter called keys to 1. And then as it continues to like cascade backwards and spawn more rooms, if it decides to, because like keys is 1, to spawn a room with a key in it, then that would decrement keys to 0. And now both keys and doors are set to 0, which means the structure can generate. Although realistically, we'd probably also want to create like an entrance counter on the boss room that gets set to 1. And then you'd want to have a room that's like the entrance to the dungeon that can only spawn if keys and locked doors are both set to 0 and entrance is set to 1. And then that would spawn in with no other attachment points, which would terminate the generation. And that would allow you to effectively create dungeons with actual coherent structure. It would still be tree-based, like it would still start at one point and then kind of cascade outwards, but the counters allow you to constrain and design the actual flow of the structure with a lot more detail. And so that's currently what I'm working on for my study. And so last stream we got, we were able to get just basic structure saving and loading working, as well as fix a bunch of bugs in the engine related to entities and seg faults. And now today I want to work on a metadata system so that we can place structure blocks and tell them what structures they can spawn, what counters they should set, etc., etc., and then actually have that information stay in the block. Because right now, blocks can only store their ID and then I think like a byte of data, which is just like, I don't know, metadata for like orientation or something. They can't store any sort of long-form data like strings or weighted probabilities or anything. So that's what we're going to be working on today. How would you store block data metadata in your structures? For example, to which block a torch is attached or how a stair is rotated? Good question. So right now the structure system is kind of shit. It basically defines the size of the structure, the offset at which it should be placed relative to you when you paste it, and then it has a list of all of the block identifiers in the structure, and then a data array which effectively maps blocks at each position to an index of the block identifiers. So like, this is basically a big 3D array that's like 6 by 7 by 9 of all of the blocks in order of the structure in the structure. And then 0 indicates that it's going to be the 0th identifier, which is air. 1 indicates that it would be the first identifier, which is planks, and 2, which is somewhere, would be lilac purple. But that only stores block IDs. It doesn't store metadata or the node like orientation or anything else. So what I plan to do, I think, is I'm going to store multiple binary arrays, because right now these are just numbers in JSON, which means that they're just strings in like our actual memory in the computer. You know, even though these indices are probably only ever going to be bytes, like they're being stored as ASCII, which is not particularly efficient, right? So I want to convert it from storing just like stringified JSON arrays to storing JavaScript typed arrays encoded to strings. And there will be one array for the block ID, there will be one for the block orientation. There will be one for biome, possibly, if I want to encode biomes in the structures, although realistically I probably don't. And then I'm also going to have a record for block position to metadata, which will just be like metadata, and then it would go be a record, so it would go like or I guess actually you can't key by arrays, so it probably would just be an array that has like position 1, 2, 3, and then like data, and then some binary string, or not binary string, but base 64 encoded string, realistically, is probably what it would be. And then that would get populated into the blocks when the structure is initialized. Does that make sense? And that's for metadata, and then for like orientation, like for torch attachment and stair rotation, that would be in a different array that was just storing bits, or bytes, I mean, sorry, for each block. Because that doesn't need complex metadata. That just needs like a single, like, I don't know, 3 bits of information to actually store its orientation. Yeah, so I was designing a system earlier last night for creating metadata in JavaScript, because ideally, so all of the information that's actually being used to generate stuff in the game is stored in C++, but all of the specifications for that data is in JavaScript. And so there's like a certain amount of bridging that I have to do where I need to take the very generic JavaScript types, like there's just one number type in JavaScript that's just a float, and I need to be able to convert it into a data structure format that C++ can understand and optimize, because I want to get the metadata to be as efficient as physically possible, because it's possible that there might be a lot of blocks of metadata in one location, and I don't want to fuck up the RAM or fuck up the hard drive space the world actually takes, right? So my plan for that is to basically create a record that defines the specification of the metadata. So for example, this is my Jigsaw block. It doesn't do anything yet, but this is the definition for it, and I'm planning on having a meta key that takes an object that satisfies the metadata type in JavaScript, which basically means it's a record that contains keys to something in the metadata namespace. So m.integer is just a type that encodes the fact that the thing at the string orientation should be an integer in C++. And the basic integer is just an i32, a signed 32-bit integer, but then there's more detail that you can do with like subtypes. So I can write like i.int.i32, and then that's a lot more explicit, or i.int.u32. Or I can even just go m.number if I'm not super familiar with how types work, and that's just going to make it a floating point, but that's fine because all JavaScript types are floating point as well. So if you don't really understand how different numeric types work, then you can just continue to use the JavaScript type names, and it won't be as efficient, but it will be fairly clear, right? So this structure here doesn't actually store any data, it stores the layout of the data, and then you pass that into this item.add function, which is a native function, like it runs in C++, and then that would create the object, or the layout for the metadata in C++. Jasper says, looks really cool, thank you. Penguin says, so most of the structure's data is stored in the dense array with a sparse array of metadata for some of them. Yes, exactly. Block IDs, and then their byte of, like, orientation data or whatever you're putting in there, will be stored in a dense array. And then metadata, since it's variable size and it's sparse, will be stored in a sparse array that keys position to data. Yeah, okay, so we have so this is our Jigsaw metadata structure, and this is a JavaScript object, like it exists. I can print it out, actually. Like, if I run the game again, then we'll be able to see, because I'm printing it out here, what it actually contains. There we go. And you'll see that it contains orientation, which is a object that holds the value case i32, which is what C++ is going to read to say, oh, okay, this should be an integer. Got it. And then structures is an array. So I have this m.array type, which takes a subtype, which is also metadata, and that just returns an array with one value, which is what C++ is going to read, mainly because I also want people to be able to do this syntax to specify that it's going to be an array. m.array is basically just for being more explicit about that. But this says that structures is an array of this type, which is a variant. Or sorry, wait, no, sorry. This is a record type here. So it's effectively like the outer meta, but it has its own keys and values. Hey there, Raymarch. And so the values in here, path, is a variant between a string and null, because basically an option is just a variant between string and null. I initially had a separate option type, but then I realized that that's just redundant, because if you can have a string or a null in a variant, that is just what an optional value is, right? And then weight and fill are both floating point values. F32 is just a regular float. And you could also just write number in here as well. There's a couple different aliases. Or m.number.f32 if you want to be really explicit about it. You can also use m.number.i32 up here. Int is just an alias for only the integer types, and also an i32 if you just type m.int. Then finally, so this is the last piece, which is kind of interesting. I programmed this like right before I started the stream. You can also do a typed array, which JavaScript has these things. You can go like const my int8 array is new int8 array, and you can give it like a size. And this actually allocates a contiguous region of memory with just the bytes in it, which is very different from traditional JavaScript arrays, which are basically just records with numeric keys. They're not very memory efficient, but the typed arrays are like properly efficient, and more excitingly, you can just copy their memory in and out of JavaScript directly. Like, you don't have to do any sort of translation, you don't have to do any iteration. C++ can just read those values as is. So I definitely want to encourage people to use typed arrays if at all possible. There's also the benefit that they have a fixed length, which means that I don't need to kind of heap allocate. I'm not actually going to be heap allocating the arrays in the C++, but I'm going to be doing some weird linear memory ordering. But if it's a fixed length, then we know exactly what size it's going to be always, which makes laying it out in C++ a lot easier. Because like all of these typed arrays, they do have a fixed length. So you specify the length here, you specify the type that you want to put in it here, and then I think everything in JavaScript or PS is on the heap. Yeah, so you are correct, everything in JavaScript is on the heap, but when I translate it to C++, I'm going to be storing it as linear memory, just in bytes, and I'm going to be using the specification here to get that information out of that linear memory. I might actually just rename this to array and then have it take a just an integer type and a length. The heap memory doesn't really exist anyways. I'm very curious what you mean by that. But yeah, so typed arrays are going to be nice. I definitely want to encourage people to use typed arrays whenever they have an integer, or some sort of integer or float that they need to store in a list. Obviously, you can't do that for like records here. That's just not how JavaScript typed arrays work. But if I can use a typed array, then we're winning, right? So this is the specification. This is just telling us how the data is going to be laid out. And then we can actually convert that to a type using some weird TypeScript magic. I wrote this infer function that effectively infers the static types that we've given it, and then converts them into JavaScript types. So you can take this specification and then get a type out of it by calling m.infer type of the meta. And then that'll actually allow you to type your actual metadata here. So this is like, for example, data that would be put into a block, right? And by tagging it with this Jigsaw meta type, I actually have type safety. Like if I try to set, if I don't put data, it's going to say, oh, hold on a minute, data is missing in this type. If I try to say data is a string, it's going to freak out and say, oh, that's not what I want. I wanted a uint array, right? And that's all dynamic. If I change this to like a u32 array, then it's not going to like this uint array. I need to give the u32 array. So that's like really nice for ergonomics, just in general. Big part of the reason I like TypeScript is that you can do all of these type safety things really efficiently. Or not really efficiently, but really intuitively. It's very nice to be able to just say, oh, this is what I want in my object. This is the type for what I want. And this type will force whatever I write in here to actually fit this specification. One thing it doesn't do, so we pass the length in here to this typed array constructor, and unfortunately it can't validate that here. Like, you notice this length is not the same as what's up here, because JavaScript does not, or TypeScript does not include the length in the actual uint array overload, which is a shame. Or I mean the uint array type, the generic type, which is unfortunate, but the length is still very useful here for passing into C++, because that allows us to choose how much memory we're going to allocate for the array in the native layout that we're going to create. And then if you pass in a shorter one, then it'll just populate the rest with zeros, and if you pass in a longer one, it'll just truncate the data. How hard is the limit on element types of a typed array? So they are contiguous memory that is in byte order, so like if you do a uint32 array, there's 4 bytes per value, and that is exact. You could... it can... So, no, you can only have it be integer types, or floating point types. So I can do uint16, uint32, uint8, or big uint64, or I can just do non-unsigned values, or you can do floats in either f32 or f64. Although, given that I'm going to be converting everything... Oh god, you're typing in both channels now, oh boy. Given that I'm gonna be converting everything into just like bytes in memory anyways, I might just replace this typed array, which is the word array, and then I might add an optional length property to the like basic array structure here. And in JavaScript, it'll still be an untyped array because JavaScript can't have typed arrays of structs. But in C++, I can make it a typed array of structs, which would be nice. So I might do that. I'm still thinking about it. Is that array big? Oh, the text at the top? No, that's my stupid little font that I made to make reading my computer hard, and it shouldn't actually be here. Hold on. 1 second. I should not search my history in Bash while having that on the main screen. chmod plus 0777. VS Code, shockingly, still does not have a setting for changing the font, which is really annoying. So you actually have to edit the VS Code, like, yeah, your code installation appears to be corrupt. You have to edit the web, what's it called, Electron template, to change what the font is. You can kind of make it out. Here you go, you can take a look here. It is English, it's just very stupid English. Yeah, I took the font Sans Forgetica worse, and I just started chopping, or sorry, Sans Forgetica. I called my own Sans Forgetica worse, because it's just a worse version of that. And then I started chopping pieces off until it looked unrecognizable initially to most people. Like, unless I tell them that it's English, most people just can't read it, which is very nice. Well, I cannot really say much in one message, but from my understanding in C/C++, malloc and realloc work on the stack, it's just that memory won't be contiguous. Okay, so on a hardware level, you're right that a heap isn't an actual thing, like it is all linear memory. But on like the operating system level, there is just unordered memory that exists. I tried to understand as much as I could, but it's a lot of things that I'm probably not qualified to teach. No, I mean, it's a good distinction to make. It's just like, as far as C++ goes, we do get actual heap allocated memory, right? It's just on an operating system level or on a computer level that might not actually exist. So, is there any message? Okay. Yeah, so we are going to, let's see, what are we going to do now? I need to actually make this part of the API that is exposed by Zeppa, because right now all of this is just in mod code. What do you mean Malloc and Realloc work in the stack? I think what they're saying is, like, at a very raw RAM level, all memory is linear, and they're just assigning it to different regions of memory. That's what I got out of it anyways. Okay. So, right, what are we doing here? I am going to... Actually, I'll keep the meta definition in mod script for now, because when I put it into library code, I'm gonna have to figure out how to get the actual values in there from C++, and that's gonna be annoying. But what I will do is I'm gonna augment the item definition. This one right here. It has a world property, and I'm going to add a key called meta, and for now I'm just gonna assign it to any. So if I go into the, let's go cd code, or assets, again, that should update the mod types, which means that I should be able to... Oh, wait, I made that required. Oops, hold on. Don't do that. Not all blocks need a meta key. Meta maybe any. I'm just gonna leave it to do myself. Give this proper typing. Thank you, self. Alright. Now we can specify the meta property. Good. Well, I mean, on a very raw RAM level, it's not linear anymore. No, this isn't stuff just linear in the virtual address space abstraction. I don't really know. I mean, I think on some level there is some linear index to regions of physical RAM, otherwise how would you index them, right? But you're right that as far as virtual memory is concerned, there's pages, which might not actually be contiguous across memory boundaries, but would be contiguous to the operating system. This is all getting very deep right now. Jeez. Memory ordering. Oh yeah, one small thing I wanted to get an opinion on. Right now, textures are laid out like this, where you, so if you're specifying textures for a block or something, you specify the namespace, the mod name, and then the file name. And that is not, like, that doesn't really support any, nested file structures. Or it might, actually. It might be able to go, like, textures/jigsaw.png. I'm not sure. But I recently added this path specification for reading and loading files, which allows you to have a scope, which is either game or world or static, where game and static both refer to the mod, and then world refers to basically storage for a specific world. And then it takes a mod name as the basically root directory, and then it takes the path. And I'm considering converting everything over to using this format. Like, it's slightly more verbose, but I also think it's a lot more clear than having it like this, where it's not super clear that this is actually referring to a path, right? I'm not sure yet. I might just do it such that, like, this is a slash, and that's it. Because, like, sure, game // would specify the scope here, but I'm pretty sure I can only actually load textures from game scope, so I don't really think it matters if that's there or not. That's just me, like, shedding some stuff, though. It's not super important. Now we don't need to keep talking about memory. I've already had a hard time understanding these things at school, and now I'm on summer break. I mean, if your school's already talking about this stuff, I'm very jealous. My school had no programming education, which was disappointing. But yeah, I mean, I would be on summer break, except I took a job, so now I'm working. Sad. But yeah, it is summer regardless. Let's not think about memory ordering. Let's think about better things like metadata memory ordering. That's much different, right? Why is this angry? Oh, duplicate index signature. That's just because the output types are technically in scope. I think I need to exclude them from the TypeScript project somewhere. Right, okay. I am going crazy. I need to actually figure out what I'm doing here. So, let's go over to the item atlas interface. This is the big block of messy code that converts a JavaScript object, or a block, into the actual block in memory in C++. And what we want to do, so that's handling groups, selection, collision, visibility stuff. Okay, let's see if I go local object, and then we're gonna go metaspec is get local object, I guess. I should probably just make this automatically inferred. World meta, not roots, meta. There we go. And then I'm gonna go if not metaspec dot empty, meaning that we actually have one. I'm just gonna go log node identifier string as metadata spec. And let's just see if we actually get the metadata sent to the engine at all. Hopefully we should. Yeah, we did do stuff like page tables and stuff at school, but that's because it's a computer science focused high school. At least high schools work that way in Italy, so we go in depth. There's like... Whoa, that's weird. Yeah, we don't have anything like that. Like, it's actually like a focused high school. So you have to choose what sort of, like, profession you want to do when you're, like, 10? Like, because high schools are grade 8 through 12 over there, right? Like, it's not like that's a university and it's just by a different name, right? Okay, so everything has a metadata spec. I fucked it up. Do I have, like, a get optional? Try get? I swear I have a get optional. High school here is 14 to 18. That's grades, right? Or is that age? I'm assuming that's age. So, yeah, that's the same-ish ages that we have high school here. And you just have to commit, like, right then and there. Oh my god. That's horrifying. I don't know. Like, I knew what I wanted to do at that age, but I feel like most people didn't. Okay, so... is empty. I forgot is empty is basically just for if the memory is uninitialized in... No, it still thinks everything has metadata. Why? Not everything has metadata. I know for a fact it doesn't. Local... Huh. You can go to a typical one and do normal stuff? Okay, that makes sense. Am I dumb? Where is... What if I just do, like, B8 no as the default here? Get object? No. Do I have has? Virtual objects? World meta? Not neat. Why do I keep saying keyboard moments? Okay, let's see if I can go. If we have that, then we're gonna get the meta spec. Sorry, you can go to a typical one, high school, and do normal stuff, or a specialized one that gives you a special diploma in the field, so you could also start working at 18 if you wanted to. That's actually really cool. That's nice. Kind of like trade schools. When I was finishing middle school, there was an option to go to a tech-specific high school here in America. Maybe it's just because I grew up in, like, a small town. I don't know. There was exactly one high school in my hometown, and it had every single person of high school age in it. But, yeah. I imagine that's definitely not how it is everywhere, for sure. My hometown only had, like, 15,000 people, so... This should work, maybe. Big emphasis on the maybe. Wait, it crashed. What? No. Has... Does it just want... It might just want the actual type, not the local. It's been a long time since I made these template functions, like a very, very long time. Okay, did we get anything? Has metadata spec? No! Okay, now we have nothing! What if I don't specify the type? I swear to God, okay, this has to work somehow. Has nothing. Okay, hold on. I am officially going crazy. Let's think out Jigsaw. It definitely exists. Like, I'm not crazy. It's not building. Oh. Oh my god. I turned off the build tools. I feel like a moron. That's fine. This whole time I was like, why isn't it working? It's because my fucking code wasn't building. Oh, wow. Well. I'm an idiot. Okay, let's see. Okay, so that is the entire node def. RE World Edit Jigsaw has metadata spec. Okay. Okay. Let's kill that. We don't have to print it out. That's fine. We don't have to print this out either. That's fine. That's fair, I live in the countryside, so that's why I do a 17-kilometer to go to school. Oh my god. That's awful. Like, do you drive, or do you bike, or... Oof. Okay, so... if we have the metadata key, then we can get the metadata object. And next we need, something to actually... parse it into our C++ structure, right? I'm actually just going to quickly confirm, because I don't know how well this is going to work. If I go to wand, and I go, I don't know. Okay, Jigsaw has metadata spec. If I go meta is 1, is it going to work properly? Let's find out. It's not awful, I have a motorcycle, so it's kind of fun for me. Oh, that's nice, yeah. Okay, good. So it didn't identify that wand had metadata because it wasn't turned on. That is, at least for now, what I want. In the future, I might support having just one singular primitive value as metadata, But for now, I think at the top level, we're going to require it to be a record, just because it complicates the API otherwise, because I want to return a proxy for the metadata so that JavaScript can detect when the values are updated and then update them on the engine side. And I can't do that if I don't return an object. So at the top level, it has to be a metadata record. Is the plan, anyways. So now what I should do... Oh wow, I just realized the music's still very loud, isn't it? Is it too loud? I might turn it down a little bit. I usually keep it up a bit more when the stream is starting, and then I turn it down when I start talking, but I forgot to turn it down. What JavaScript runtime am I using? I'm using V8, the one that powers Chromium. So, this is going to be interesting. So I can show you the C++ metadata definition here. We basically have a metadata entry, which takes a type, and then it has a virtual function for checking if another entry matches it. And then we have a couple overloads for the container types. Mainly we have a node meta array entry, which takes a meta entry for what the value type is. And then we also override the matches value to make sure that the values type matches. Then we have a record entry, which takes a pair of strings to meta entries. I was considering using a map, but given most records are going to be quite small, I think linearly iterating over this will be faster than like hashing and comparing against a map, so that's what I went with. And this includes a function for just checking if a specific string and entry type can actually fit in the record, because that's a bit more complicated than just checking if it matches. And then we finally have a variant entry, which just takes a couple different entries as possible variants, and then tries to slot it in. And then I was initially going to write the encoding and decoding functions in the node meta definition, but I realized after I wrote these type signatures and then kind of just stopped that I want to isolate V8 code as much as possible. Like, I'm trying to keep any sort of JavaScript code isolated entirely into the scripting subdirectory to make it easier to separate out, like, concerns. So I probably shouldn't have encoding or decoding in this definition. I should probably have a type or a function in here. A class. Yeah, let's go, node meta def interface. That's a bit of a stupid sentence, but whatever. It should work. I'm going to... Actually, we can probably just put this stuff in the Atlas interface itself. It's not like it has very much code. In fact, all of this is currently copied from the structure atlas, I think. Oh wait, no, sorry. Node data atlas is actually something entirely different. I haven't created a file for the metadata. So yeah, let's go node meta def interface dot http. Right. Gonna do some fun little copy-paste programming. And we're definitely going to want to include the node meta def source element address node meta def. No semicolon in C++. Oh, .http. Oh, right, source does not need to be there. I'm not rusty, I swear. I write code and it's good, always. I don't have problems with writing C++ because I only do it like every week. Definitely not. Okay. Now let's have a class, just node meta def interface. This will probably mostly be static methods, so we might turn it into a namespace, but it's possible we might need some state, so I'm gonna leave it as a class for now. What are these signatures? They're just Hey there, Munsmo. I'm doing good. How are you? We're going to have a public class, and it's going to contain a function called create spec, which is going to take a V8 object, and it's hopefully going to return a node metadata. Can't do that syntax. Jesus. Okay, maybe I'm slightly rusty, okay? Right, cool. And let's go into a source file, node metadata interface, and we're gonna have scripts, node metadata interface, create spec. In C++, you can't expect nice syntax. But someone on my stream the other day said something horrifying, which I kind of really want to do. So, like, I use quite a bit of macros in my code, because I like having clean code, even if it makes it weird for people that aren't used to it. Like, I have let and const for, like, autos, basically. One's a const auto, and the other one's an auto. I do kind of want to change it to let and mute at some point, but that's for later. But someone did something kind of horrifying, which is they did define fun auto, and then you can do C++ syntax, so you can write postfix type notation in C++ like this, right? But then you can just write fun, and then it looks like it's a language that doesn't suck. Wow. Because then you have your post return type. And I honestly really like this, and I want to do it. But I'm worried about fucking up, like, libraries and stuff that might use the fun keyword, because that's quite common, right? So, I don't know. I checked your YouTube channel and came here to say, wow, nice game and amazing that you've done this using only React, as you mentioned. Not a React fan, but it always amazes me to see people making JavaScript games of such quality. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, this isn't, so this project here isn't the one that's made in React. This is a C++ project that I'm creating. I can show what it looks like. It's a Voxel engine. But yeah, I do all of my game jam games in React, and I have a lot of fun with that, honestly. I think part of the like appeal of it is how cursed it is. Like, using just a web UI library for making video games, I think that's a lot of fun. And also just, I do a lot of web development, so I'm very familiar with React and its systems. But yeah, it's definitely really cursed. I had a longer video about that planned, and I still do want to make it one day. That kind of just goes over my thoughts on game jams and how to maximize your efficiency, and there's a large part of it that kind of is just like, use whatever tool you know, even if it's the most cursed tool imaginable, because the only one that's going to see the tooling and the backend stuff is you, and it doesn't matter how shit your code is for a jam game. If you're gonna, like, move forward with it after, it's only 2 days of effort that's lost, right? Like, you should just use literally any tooling that you're effective with, even if it's, like, just a horrible, horrible idea for, like, long term. Yeah, I hope I can get that full video out at some point. I can never code while streaming, too much pressure. I've gotten used to it. I think the main thing that kills me now is just, like, when I talk to people, I lose my train of thought. But, you know, I like talking to people, so it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. For those things, I usually use typedef. I'm kind of scared of the preprocessor since the compiler doesn't understand it. The compiler understands it, it just, like, substitutes in the actual values. I don't think you can do typedef here. I mean, maybe you can. Can you do typedef fun plus auto? Or wait, is it auto equals fun? How do you do typedef syntax? Am I dumb? Yeah, auto is not allowed in typedef. What about using fun is equal to auto? Auto is not allowed in type alias. Ugh, buzzkill. Yeah, so you'd have to use a macro for it, unfortunately. Do you have levels of detail, or always just full resolution voxels? I do have level of detail. So Currently, the engine is just assuming that you're always standing right at 0, 0, which is where I spawn in here. And hopefully it's not super obvious way out there that it's actually lower resolution. But if I zoom in, you can see, like, after a certain point, all of the blocks become cubic. Like, they don't have any extra detail to them. So, for example, and this is kind of not good, actually. I don't want these to render here, but these are twigs. And, like, over here, they render as little twigs, but over here, they're just full blocks. I should go into the specification for them and just say that they don't render at low detail, but right now they do, which looks a bit funky. But yeah, so at this point, all of the blocks are cubic. The frosting clone is a bit fucky still. And I do also use greedy meshing, right? So all of these are just different runs for greedy meshing, which is nice for lowering mesh vertex counts. And then in the future, I do want to, like, decrease the resolution by powers of 2. So I want to be able to have chunks in the distance where each visible voxel represents a 2x2x2 of terrain, and then a 4x4x4, and then an 8x8x8, and so on and so forth. But I need to actually set up my octree for that, and I haven't got a proper octree set up yet. And I've not graduated yet, that's amazing. Sorry, I was reading a chat message, not just patting myself on the back. It's been so long since the chat message was there, it's not on screen anymore. I mean, I am in year 4, so I am pretty close to graduating, thankfully. I just basically, if I didn't get a job and slow down the pace that I was doing my education, then I would be graduating by the end of this year, but instead I'm going to be graduating mid-next year, so... I don't know. I'm effectively graduated. I don't want to pat myself on the back too hard for knowing how to code after, or like, well, I guess after 4 years of university. I feel like aliasing keywords is a bad idea. You're right, it absolutely is. I would never do this in a team, but I am working on this project entirely alone, and I don't know, I guess I value my own ergonomics more than I care about things that are probably a terrible idea. I don't know. If this was a team project, I definitely wouldn't do it, but given that I'm working alone, I think it's acceptable in this kind of horrible way, where I'm gonna do it and no one can stop me. Yeah, so let's see if I can create this spec function. So basically what we want to do is we want to take in an object, which is from B, and we want to convert it into a node meta entry tree. So presumably the first one would be a node meta record entry. In fact, we should enforce that, because, again, I want to store this as a proxy. Yeah, we want to make sure that this is always a record at the top level. And this record can have keys and entry values, which can either be primitives, or arrays, or records, or variables. And I need to make the parser do that. It's called doing recreational programming, set your own rules. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely it. And also, like, this project isn't open source, so I don't have to be too worried about employers seeing my horrible macros and then being scared off by me. Although I don't think that they actually scrutinize that all that much. If I ever expand my team somehow, like if this project actually becomes successful, which would be amazing, they're gonna have some opinions, I'm sure, of how horrible this all is. But, I don't know. If it makes the code base easier for me to use, then I think it's worth it. I'm definitely the one doing all of the work right now, and probably the majority of the work far into the future. Nice, I was working on a Voxel Engine side project too once, but I could never get it to work nicely with octrees. I'm very scared of octrees. I'm avoiding them. I know I need to use them, I just am not entirely sure how I'm gonna do that yet, so I don't blame you. Okay, so we need to start making our node meta record entry. So I'm going to go into here. Viewpointer node meta record entry. Record. Hey there, Wispy, how you doing? I guess I should actually write, like, fun parse spec obj. And this is going to take in a local object. Spec obj. and it's going to return a node meta entry, and this is going to be very recursive. So we're going to go const type is going to be specobj get specobj, or sorry, get string specobj underscore type. Although, oh fuck, this might not always have a type. Okay, hold on. Because this is like a dumb thing I'm doing. So in the meta file, most of these things, oh, I guess it's actually case, not type as well, but most of these things have a case property. These also have case properties. But sometimes they're just arrays, and sometimes they are records, and sometimes they're just these primitive types. And I know that's horrible, for the record, but I want it to be as ergonomic as possible, so I've made something terrible because of that. So basically, I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go value, and we're going to go case. I'm going to go, that type is going to be a string. Then I'm going to go if. Why is this not happy? Oh, because it needs to be in the script namespace. Okay. Fine, I'll add it to the header file. Private. Node meta entry for specobj. What are you developing? Can you show us an execution? Absolutely. Hold on, wait, what is happening here? We may be too ergonomic at this point. Not yet. There's never too much ergonomic. Okay. Yes, I can show you what I'm working on. This is my Voxel Game engine. It's called Zephyr. It's written in C++. All of the game content is defined in JavaScript, which is so that you can join servers and have all the blocks and entities and everything come down as mod script and be ran locally on your computer without any sort of like potential for malicious code execution. It's meant to have very little constraints compared to traditional voxel engines. Infinite world size in all 3 axes, infinite dimensions, almost everything is dynamic and just can be like declared at runtime using JavaScript. Everything is script-based, like even my player movements right now are somehow lost mouse focus. There we go. Even my player movements right now are controlled by JavaScript, which is sending data to C++ to move the camera, which I'm very happy with. So that's basically the project, and right now what I'm working on... I keep hitting the corner of my screen, which has this click target that's fucking things up. Right now what I'm working on is schematic saving and loading. So if I go load house, that loads the house schematic from a file, but I can paste it. Or not. Paste? Oh wait, sorry, it's load home from paste. There we go. Oh no. Oh no. Oops. Yeah, so... you can load schematics from file and save them to file, and I'm working on making a more sophisticated structure system that allows you to chain structures with probabilities and like placement conditions to allow the game to generate random dungeons with like a lot of flexibility. I've created a horrible thing. Oops. Yeah, well, the flowers are growing. I have this code on these flowers. It's spreading. It is, yeah. I have a code, like a script for when the flowers are constructed that causes them to have a chance to, like, start an infinite spread. And it's mainly just to, like, benchmark the performance cost of doing lots and lots of node manipulations. Which works pretty good, as you can see. Like, we're not really getting any stutters here, it's just kind of going. Skulk V2. The even more powerful Skulk. Ugh, the Deep Dark had nothing on this. I keep calling it the Underdark. I'm too much of a D&D person. Oh yeah. My text rendering's all sorts of fucked right now. I'm not entirely sure why. Okay, so we have our parse specobj function in the script node meta def interface. Infinite world size until you run out of precision on the GPU. You can do... so... if you just make all of your data relative to your... Sorry, to grab something. If you make all your data relative to, like, chunk boundaries, and then you, like, pass in all of your matrices and stuff relative to whatever chunk you're currently in, you can have infinite, like, worlds without any sort of, like, GPU artifacting. You're basically just tricking it to thinking that you're always at the world origin. I don't do that yet, but I will. Okay, we're gonna go, if is, v8 no, spec obj. Then we're gonna say type is equal to no. Why is not happening? Undeclared identifier is. Oh, there we go, type check. There we go. I got it in the end. I assume this is... Yeah, okay. This is my function. It's very displeased because, the semantics for, my linter are different than the semantics for my compiler. It was changed, but yeah. Oh yeah, my chair is, like, kinda fucked. Okay, if this is null... I think it has to be a local null? This is a 10. What is this? Oh, that's a constructor? Oh, I guess I can just do if specobj.is null or undefined. There we go. Type is equal to null. Else if specobj is number object, type is equal to x32. If you just pass in a number, then like the number constructor, it's going to be a float because that's the type that JavaScript uses. Else if specobj is Boolean object, type is equal to bool. Else if specobj is... What other types are there? Hold on. So according to the types that I gave, there's string, number, Boolean. Okay, it's string object. Type is equal to string. So we have string, Boolean, number. Okay, we're missing raw object type, but that's a special case. Right. String Boolean. Oh, arrays. We need to care about arrays and then object types, basically. So we'll go else if specobj is array, type is equal to array. Else if specobj is object and specobj.as object dot God, how do I get the number of keys? I think I have to do get property names. I need a context, hold on. The V8 has this like weird stacked system, where you have to have like a context and an isolate for a lot of operations. There we go, context dot... Should this not be an array? What are you? What do you return? Oh, a maybe local, okay. To local checked dot... Now what are you now? Wait, what type is this? So maybe this is a local of an array. Okay. Dot length is equal to 0. Jesus Christ. Type is equal to object. So basically, I want you to be able to specify an arbitrary object, which would just mean that you can put anything in it. It's going to get serialized down to like a JSON string, and then it'll get re-exposed as like a real object afterwards. But the object type is the same as an empty record, right? And I want you to be able to specify record types as well. So basically the idea is that just if you don't put any values in there, then it's going to be a arbitrary object, otherwise it's going to be a record. So then otherwise if specObj is object, type is going to be record. Okay. I'm gonna also start initializing this at empty string. Okay, did I get all of the special cases? I think I did. Now I need to go, if type.empty. Oh wait, hold on, we don't want to set the type to record yet. Because, oh, I'll go now. It was nice finding a new graphics programming channel. Can't wait for the next video. Stream was nice too, even if I had to endure the C++ syntax. See ya. See ya later. Thanks for stopping in. It was fun. Yeah, I stream every Saturday if you want to pop in later. See you around. Okay, so we can't set this to record just yet. We actually need to check its contents. So let's go, if... Hey there, Darksoon! We're gonna go if type.empty. If not specObj is object, we're gonna... Or I guess I'm gonna use an insert here. That's just my runtime assert. Ensure specObj is object, unknown spec object type, not a primitive constructor, array, null, or record for object. There you go. Cool. Let's import ensure. Okay, now we need to switch on. We're gonna go const or CMS type or case. Please. Oh, I can't call it case, damn it. Spec case is going to be specObj dot, or I guess get specObj underscore case. Now we're gonna get that as a string, and it's gonna default to an empty string. Cool. Can't do that? Yes, I can. Expected a... Oh, I didn't put a semicolon. Define fun auto. Yeah, I'm thinking about doing that. I might not, but it does let me do this, which is very nice. I know it's very sinful. I haven't decided if I'm gonna keep it yet. So I'm gonna switch on spec case. Mainly because, like, the values in case are going to be the same as the types that we're going to put in here. But I don't want you to be able to just put an arbitrary type in that doesn't actually match any of the cases and then have it get confused. So we're basically just going to validate that it is one of these strings that we are expecting. Spec case is a string. Oh, string.data. There we go. So we're gonna go case, or let's actually first go default. Ensure false. Unknown spec type. Spec object case. I guess I should probably also put it in here. Plus spec case. Cool. Alright, now, case, fill, hash. Time to write a lot of things! Null. Null. Bool. String. U8. U16. U32. U64. I8. I16. I32. I64. What's next? So that's string and boolean. Did I get boolean? I did not. Because I have it boolean. It should just be bool. I'm lazy. I don't want to type boolean every time. Okay. So that's all the floating point types. We need floating point types. F32, F64. Cool. That's the numeric types. Then we have string and boolean and null. Then we need typed array, variant, and object. So let's go typed array, variant, and object. Cool. And in that case, we're going to set type equal to spec case, and break. Magic. I mean, this looks significantly nicer than auto or C-style function def, so I get it. Yeah, it's also very cursed. And then the final case we have to consider right now is if spec case is empty, like it's an empty string, let's actually just give it a default. Let's just call it object right here. Because if case is not specified... Wait. Wait, hold on. No, I need to change this part here. So we can't just set it to record immediately. What we need to do is go case util hash empty string. So if it does not contain the case property, then it's either going to be a record or it's going to be an object. So now we need to go if spec_obj as object, get property means that the length is greater than 1, then it's going to be type greater or equal to 1, then its type is going to be record. Otherwise, type is going to be object. That should do it. How long have I been working on this project? Oh, not all that long, just 5 years. I started December of 2018. Yeah. Okay, so this should do what we want. So if it's any of the literal types, then we set the type right here. Otherwise, we ensure that it's an object, because if it's not one of those literal types, then it needs to be an object with a case property, or a record, which does not have a case property, but has other properties, or an object which has no properties, right? And then we check the case property, default to empty string, compare it against all these values. These are the known types. If they're valid, then we set spec case to that. Or sorry, we set type to the case. If it's empty, then it's either a record if it has at least one value, or it's an object. And then if it is set, but is not any of these, then it's unknown and we crash out. There we go. That makes sense, I think. Okay, now we need to do the real switch on type, which is part of where I think this code gets kind of icky, because we're basically repeating this whole thing up here, but it's going to have more options, basically. So this whole first step is getting the actual type. So I'm just going to say, get the type of the spec object. And then we need to go convert the type into a node method. Why do I need to check for all the types? Is this an actual interpreter? So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to make it so that in JavaScript you can specify a structure for how data is stored on a block, and then that can be sent to C++, encoded optimally, and then saved, and then recalled later. And so basically, I need to get a specification that includes what type each value is, which might be recursive, and then I need to convert it into a C++ object that actually tells the engine how to convert those types back and forth. And so these are all of the known types that you can specify in JavaScript as metadata types, just all of the integer types, and then strings, booleans, nulls, typed arrays, variants, objects, and records. And so I just need to convert it from a string in JavaScript into an actual C++ object that has an enum value. And so this whole step is just doing that. Because, surprisingly, interfacing with a language that's dynamically typed and one that's statically typed is a little bit annoying. Um, you might want to store the hash string types or statically hash them so you aren't incurring the runtime cost of all those hashes. I'm pretty sure this would be static, wouldn't it? Like, wouldn't the compiler do this? Because this is a const expression function. I'm almost certain this would statically generate the hash. It shouldn't do it at runtime. Because I believe that the thing is, like, switch statements have to be constant. Like, if I go case util hash, and then I just pass in the type, it's not going to work because this isn't constant. Oh, hold on. Got data. Yeah, it says not a constant expression. So, yeah, because this will be created, this will turn into a table. Like in program memory. So, no, it's not running those at runtime. The only hash that would be running at runtime is this one. So we're good. We're fine. Okay, now just gotta do this again. Util hash null is gonna go into I'm gonna start early returning here because I don't want to deal with this. Node meta entry, and then we're gonna give it node meta type dot colon null. Why is that mad at me? No constructor. I guess... Do I need a constructor for this? Hold on. Why isn't the implicit constructor working? Where's my type? Node meta entry just has one value. Why is the default constructor not there? Fine. Explicit node meta entry type node meta type. It should be in here. Yes. Node meta type empty. C++ can read JSON though. You can use a library to read a JSON string, sure. But like, then I'd have to stringify all of this information that's being sent from V8. Which admittedly I could do, that would probably be a little bit simpler, but I think I'm okay with the solution. Converting it to JSON would be roughly the same thing. I would just have to do this processing phase where I convert it into a type record in JavaScript, which would admittedly be a bit simpler, but I don't want to. I don't want to right now. I'm committed to this path. So we need to give it boolean. I would still need to convert it into these structures because they're not just one-to-one JSON type. They are storing other information. So the only thing that could be reduced is just this top part, really. I8, I16, I32, I64. And then we're gonna have F32 and F64. Cool, so that's all the numeric types, and null and boolean string. Then, the arrays, typed arrays, variants, and objects are going to be different. I'm gonna actually put them down here. Array, typed array, variant, object, and just for simplicity right now we're going to put ensure false, unhandled, just so that I can keep writing this code and know that these exist. Oh, you know what I should do? You know what I should do? I can make this code a lot less bad. I can make type a node meta type. And then for now I'll just go node meta type dot... I guess I need like an actual unknown type if I do this, which is fine. I'll just have like unknown 255. Cool. Node meta type unknown. Cool. And then we can go node meta type null. Oh god. I'm gonna have to rewrite a bunch of stuff now. No! Uh, this is the type of stuff I used to use Copilot for. Just like doing this like find and replace stuff. Because it was very good at like analyzing patterns in what I was doing and being like, oh, you want this to happen now. I gotcha, I gotcha. Oh, this is gonna be amazing. Well, I figured this out. But I stopped using Copilot a while ago because I felt like it was making me A, lazier, and B, there was like a lot of controversy about whether or not it is even ethical. Which, like, I think is an interesting discussion, because in general I'm very against AI training off of real people, and I'm also just against, like, AI art as, like, a commercial and, like, a thing that is just becoming more common. I think it's very unfortunate. Like, I'm an artist myself. I want to be able to create art and feel like it is like a very human experience, right? But I don't really see snippets of code as art. Like, maybe that's like a limitation of my perception. But like, I'd say a whole video game is art. But like, I don't really think that like writing a big array of switch cases is art, you know? I don't really think, like, it's reasonable to consider that, like, anyone's ownership. Like, someone's probably written code almost exactly like this somewhere before. Wait, why is... Hold on, wait, I just realized something horrible. What have I done? Oh, no! Wait. Wait. Hold on. Okay, this is fine. Yeah, okay, we're fine. We're fine. I stared at my code and I was like, oh no. I only have Copilot because it's free for students, otherwise I wouldn't use it. Yeah, that's why I have it as well. It's nice for web dev where I don't really give a shit about the artistry, I just want to get it done. I see you took up on the idea, now your codebase is full of fun. I'm only using it in this one file. I haven't committed yet. I do really like it, I do really want it, but I'm scared of it. I don't know if it's a good idea. But I'm very much thinking about it, and it's your fault. C# has something similar to Copilot on Visual Studio, but not C++. C# has something similar to Copilot on Visual Studio. Well, Copilot works for all languages. Like, I've had it work in C++. It works fine. Okay. So now we have the actual type. If type is equal to node metatype unknown, then we need to cascade into this point. But now here, we can simplify this code a lot. We can do type, then all the primitives, we can actually just block this into a default block, and we can just go return node meta entry type. Beautiful, because all of these are just returning the basic type. The only thing we have to care about are the container types. I'm just gonna triple check that real quick. So, yeah, all of these are just primitives. It's only array, typed array, record, and variant. And then we should also have a case for unknown to throw, basically, if we didn't identify the type. In fact, I guess that happens here. Yeah, so we don't need to worry about unknown. So yeah, let's go case, node, meta, type, array. This will have to do some logic with array. Case, node, meta, type, typed array. I see that, oh no, I'm terribly sorry, Altos. I know you're not actually sorry. Node, meta, type, variant. And case, node, meta, type, object. Actually, don't think, like, object isn't really a container type. Object is actually just a string. Yeah, sorry, this should be record down here. I think it's autocomplete, not AI-based. Oh, interesting. Having, like, IntelliSense like that is useful. I do have that to an extent, but the AI autocomplete was very nice for, like, the type of thing where I'd have just strings there and I just needed to convert them to a different pattern. Because Copilot would be very good at identifying that. Okay. God, it's so hot in this room. Wow, okay. My fan is on full blast, but it's not doing all that much. Okay, so if we've got an array, then we need to basically return node meta array entry. I'm going to need to write a constructor for this guy now. Node meta array entry, explicit, node meta array entry, node meta entry, value type. Values, value type. There we go, so that's our type here. Oh, this is gonna... Oh! Right, we need to initialize node meta entry as well, just with node meta type array. There we go. That's our array constructor. We're gonna do a similar thing for record, which is just going to take in a vec of pairs of strings to node meta entries of value type. And we're gonna initialize it with the value of record. Good. And then finally, variant, the last one we need to care about right now. Explicit node record variant entry, which is going to take a vector of node meta entries. It's gonna return variant. Values, or variants. Value type. Cool. Okay. So that'll let us initialize all of these. Array entry is the simplest one, because we literally just have to call parse spec obj with spec obj get local object spec obj underscore type, I believe, is what it is. I'll need to check the TypeScript. Let's see. Oh wait, sorry, no, this is an array. So this is going to be local array get spec obj 0. There we go. That'll return the first item in the array, which is the actual type of the array in our specification. Good. This get function... Oh wait, sorry, this takes a local object, and we're going to do spec object as local, or as array. Cool. This will return an empty object if it can't find it, I'm pretty sure. Which means that it'll just end up, I guess that'll end up with it just being an object type. Which I don't know if I want. I should probably not do that. Let's see. Let's go... do I like C++ better than TypeScript? That's an interesting question. I like the flexibility of it and I like the speed of it. Like, I really like metaprogramming. Metaprogramming is a lot of fun. TypeScript lets you do type metaprogramming, but it doesn't let you do a lot of the more interesting, like, constant generation stuff that C++ lets you do because it's only a preprocessor. But I also, I like the ergonomics of TypeScript. TypeScript is so much faster to program. You wouldn't have to be doing any bullshit like this, probably. I think they're useful for different areas. I definitely, like, want to feel like I'm doing... Like, if I'm doing stuff that needs to be fast, I want to be in C++. If I'm doing web dev, I definitely want to be doing TypeScript. I like both of them. Okay, so we're going to ensure that specObject array. Then we're going to go ensure specObj length, or as array. I think that's a no-op, the as array. It just changes the type. I don't think it actually has a runtime cost. Array type must have a value type in the first index. Cool. Now we can read it and create our array type. I really like the flexibility of TypeScript too, though. The fact that everything is a dictionary is so powerful for metaprogramming. Oh, it's lovely. TypeScript's metaprogramming is, like, so good. I just wish that you could do it for values, too. Like, I wish you could generate values with it at build time. That would be very nice. That would be very cool. I'm gonna ensure false. Type arrays unimplemented. Smiley face. We'll deal with that later. But why can't I type? So there's something which gives you both speed and flexibility. Is it Rust? Are you about to advertise Rust to me? Okay, so we're gonna have our variant, and we're gonna make sure that it's an object. Variant must be an object. It's Odin. I've never heard of Odin. Is it... Let's see. Odin programming language. Oh no, my font is doing its thing. Hold on. I can read this, but I don't want you all to have to suffer. Let's just go, font family roboto. There we go. Interesting. Rust isn't that flexible, so I was gonna say... Rust has some flexibility, but its memory system's very annoying. Huh. Oh, wow. This is like a completely compiled language, right? Minecraft enchantment font. It's gonna turn back to shit. Okay. Well, I'll look at this later, because this is cool. I'll definitely look into it. It's too late for this project, but maybe in the future. Okay, I'm gonna get the, So if this is a variant, then it's gonna follow the pattern of, it has a variance key, which is going to have an array of meta values. Cool. So we're going to grab that array. We're going to go const variant r is going to be get specObj.as object variants, and we're explicitly going to type this as a local array, which will cause the get function I wrote to throw if it's not. It's compiled language, system language pointer, and high-level features. I like Lua. Okay, hold on. Some people are comparing the speed of C++ to Rust. Well, Rust might be faster than other classes. I mean, it's a different paradigm for sure, but it can definitely do all the things that C++ can, with pretty much the same speed. Like, it's definitely more functional than C++, but that doesn't make it less capable. I like Lua because it's easy to program and fast if you use the just-in-time compiled version. So, fun fact, I actually was using Lua as a scripting language for this project before I ditched it and swapped to JavaScript, because, while you're absolutely right, the just-in-time version is very fast, it also hasn't been updated in like 4 years, and there was entirely new versions of the Lua spec that were coming out in the Lua language, and the just-in-time version was not keeping up, and I got this feeling that this language, Lua, was just slowly atrophying. Like, you had to choose between being on like a half-a-decade-old version of the language to have speed, or use the new versions, which are still incredibly slow. And I was just like, God, I don't want to be stuck in this ecosystem, you know? I want to be on a language that I know is going to be fast and backed by big, evil companies like Google for the long time. So I swapped. I was a traitor. I replaced Lua with JavaScript. Okay, we're gonna have a vec of node next increase. And it's going to be initialized with variant r document. I never know. So in arrays, if you give it a number, yeah, okay. In arrays, if you give it a number, it actually reserves the space. I thought that vectors would just call vec.reserve, but no, it does in fact try to default construct them, which we don't want. So I'm just gonna reserve. Yeah, its maintainer doesn't like the new versions. I mean, yeah, Lua is weird. It's definitely fast, but I feel like it's very unergonomic. Like, I don't like that it doesn't have, like, prefix and postfix operators. I like the... I do really wish that I had, like, the meta programming, or the... Sorry, not the meta programming, the meta type functionality with operator overloading and stuff in JavaScript. That's very nice. But at least using JavaScript means I can just program in any language that compiles to WebAssembly and have it work as well. So I could make mods in Rust. That would be nice. After I have programmed the engine in C++, I can finally go to the good language for making actual game content. Alright, let's go for let I is equal to 0, I is some variant r dot length I plus plus. Let's also quickly ensure variant r dot length is less than int 8 or u8 max, because that's how many I allow. Variant cannot have more than 355. Yeah. Okay, and let's make this a U8F. Have I heard of JAI? No, not. Yeah, one indexing is definitely awkward. Oh, JAI was made by Jonathan Blow. Oh boy. I've heard some interesting things about him. I don't know anything about JAI. Alright, let's see. So, what we need to do is, for each variant, we're going to push, or I guess in place, actually. Or no, we don't want to... No, I guess we... Okay, this is interesting, because we can't store just a vector of node meta entries, because they might be subtyped, right? Which means that we need to store... Let's see. We actually need to store... If we're going to store an entry, we need to store a U-pointer to it. Because, like, yeah, in C++, if you have something that might be a subtype, then it has to be stored in the heap. Otherwise, it can't actually hold subtypes. So, yeah, I'm gonna actually have to change all this to using view pointers, which is slightly gross, but oh well. Move this over. Values matches entry as values. Damn, this is annoying. Get should work. Oh, I guess I need to do that. Yep, I don't like this anymore. This is worse code. John Blow blocked you on Twitter. Oh, what did you do? I haven't heard very much from him, particularly. I've heard a few things about him being controversial in some of his views. And I haven't really looked into it because frankly, it doesn't matter all that much to me. Like, if I hear that someone's got weird views, I just don't really pay attention to them. Like, unless I am already invested in them somehow, then I'll look into it, obviously, but... Get and pointer. Okay. Almost done. Sorry. Sorry, there's a bunch of, like, stupid shit happening now. I need to, make all of these things work with subtypes. I wasn't thinking about it. Pointer. Move. Can I ask to move the entire vector? I can, but this vector should be a reference. Not a const reference, because it does need to be able to move. This vector should also be a reference. Why aren't these references? Why did I do this? Okay. Variant matches. Variants. I.get. Reference. Cool. Variance I matches. Entry. Cool. Okay, there we go. Actually, these can all be const. Damn it. Yeah. Matches should be able to take a const ref for all of these. So many type things. Why did I do this? Classic dev question right there. Yeah, I made some mistakes. I've done some wrongs. I've committed some crimes. Okay. Now this needs to be a U-pointer. Cool. U-pointer is just a shorthand for unique pointer. For clarity. Okay, now this function also needs to return a unique pointer. Wow. Yep. U-pointer, node meta entry. I do really like the postfix notation. I'm tempted to keep it. Make unique node meta entry. Give the spec obj. Good. Make unique node meta entry. Cool. Make unique node meta array entry. Boom. Okay. Cool. Okay. Variant vector then place back. So for each variant in the variant array, we need to convert it to an entry, which we should just be able to do by going parse spec obj. Get variant are why is that not happy? Local value? Is it not like that? What if I do v8 or this dot get or get isolate? I don't know. I'm not sure function called a get. This is weird. Why is that not okay? This is a local array. Oh, is it? Do I need to cast this to a view size or something? No? What is happening? Why are you brain dead? T is a local value, O is a convert local array. Okay, I don't know why my get function is not working for this, but I'm just gonna use the raw thing right now. Get context I. Okay, this is unhappy because it's not a, it's a maybe local, so let's go to local checked. Good. Okay. Cool. So that will get all the variants. And then the final thing I want to do is if them. I want to make sure they're neat. Just have to commit on something in prototype. Yeah. I mean, I have committed, it's just I keep realizing that shit's not gonna work, so I have to keep changing it. So sometimes there is a case for, you know, thinking harder about things, perhaps. So what I'm gonna do is go for... This is a kind of gross thing. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do this in this loop, so it's slightly less bad. For U8F, j is equal to 0, j is less than variance r dot length minus 1, j plus plus. Alright, sorry, not variant r dot length. We're gonna go variant vec dot size. Because we want to iterate over all of the existing ones except the one that we just put in. And then we want to go ensure not variant vec I dot matches variant vec, or sorry, variant vec j dot matches variant vec I dot get as a reference. And then let's go variant options must be the same. So basically, every time we go through and we add a new variant to the list, we check if it matches any of the old ones on the list, and then we say nuh-uh, because we don't want to be wasting memory on duplicate variant options. That's dumb. So, cool. Okay. So that is our entire variant vec. Now we should be able to do node meta variant entry. And then give it our variant of that. Okay. The final thing I think is the record type. So this will be basically the variant but slightly more flexible. We're gonna get our object keys. So spec object dot get properties. Okay. Context. Dot to local check. It's upset because I haven't defined the context, apparently. I thought I did. Yeah, oh, I need it CTX. No shorthands. Okay. Okay, so now... This is our array of all the property names. Let's go, props are. And this is, I think, an array of strings. Then we're gonna have a vec of viewpointer string. Oh, sorry, a vec of pairs to string, and then node meta entry. The values vec. Values vec.reserve props are length. Cool. Then, for each value here, we're gonna go, so, we'll go values vec dot in place back, and we need to get the name, so we're gonna convert string. Let's go, actually, const name is going to be equal to props are get I, and we're gonna convert it. It should automatically know I want it as a string. Oh, to local. No. Oh, context. Okay, so this is now not right. This should be converted to a string. I thought it would auto-infer. Oh well, fine. So we have the name. So then we're gonna have to in place back the name, followed by the parse spec obj, which we'll get by indexing spec obj at the name. And we're gonna, yeah, that should be good. That should work, but it's not. Because I didn't put a semicolon. And this is unhappy because, why? Local value. Oh, dot as object. Still nothing? I swear to God. Okay, hold on. I'm going crazy right now. This should be fine. My get function is not working. Okay, whatever. I don't care. I'm just gonna go get name Uh, which is actually kind of annoying because I need to get Hunt's name stir as V8. Oh, thank you for the raid, Lapland's art. A raid with the size of 1. Woo! Pirate raid. How you doing? How are things? Okay, why is this upset at me now? Oh, got as. It's great. Hello. Okay. Cool. Now... Does it not like that it's const? Oh my god, it doesn't like that it's con. Okay, wait.
Your Google Home is accepted. To get started, download the Google Home app on a phone and tablet.
Thank you, machine. Wow. Okay, hold on. So I think it's just that I need this to be let. Maybe. No? Okay, damn it. Oh, wait. Name being const problem? Yes, okay. It was name being const that's the problem. That's weird. It should be fine with that being a construct, but it's not. And I don't want to deal with that, so I'll figure that out later. Doing well, finally got the weapons in my game to do damage and open secret doors. Ooh, that's exciting. What's your game project? Unless you're someone I've talked to before in like Discord or something, in which case I don't recognize your username. It must be different. Okay, then we need to go through values vet. And we need to make sure that none of the names match. So we're gonna go, values vet j dot first is not equal to name. This shouldn't be possible for the record, because we're getting these names from an object anyways, but it makes sense to check. Record names must be the same. Cool. I'm getting rid of these curly braces and no one can stop me. I will write bad code if I want to, damn it. Okay, now let's return a node meta record entry. Also, this should be called... This should not be like that. Should it? No, a record can have... Well, I'm gonna put a sanity check here. We can waive this restriction in the future, but I want to identify if there's a bug using that. Record must be market value. Nope, I'm brand new, so no worries. I'm working on a 2D puzzle platformer Metroidvania game, yo, where you take on the role of Moxie the lovely doggo, yo! Oh my god, who's awoken in the strange world very far from home. You have to use all your wits to help her navigate through the strange world, solving puzzles, fighting enemies, finding a way to get Moxie home. That sounds so cute! Oh my god. I need to check out your game. Do you have a link to it or something? Okay, so parse spec ob. I think it will work, maybe. Let's find out. If I go rec dot... I guess that's record entry. We're gonna go parse spec obj. Obj. That's not happy. Because it might not be a record. Okay, that's fine. Meta entry. And let's go if not rec dot is node meta record entry. That should work. Why didn't that work? Oh, because I need to... Yep, there we go. I guess I should ensure rec.is node meta record entry, and then root object of node meta must be a record. Okay, finally, let's return node meta def. Oh my god. And then we're gonna do dot def is equal to rec dot as node, or I guess I'll have to do dynamic pointer path rec. And I'll have to go node meta record entry. Why is that sad? Rec is a U-pointer of node meta entry. That should be fine. Cannot match shared pointer against unique. Oh god, does static pointer cast only work on shared pointers? Thank you. Unfortunately, the only link I have right now is a pretty old demo that was made in 24 hours as part of a challenge. I'm hoping to get that updated by the end of the month, though. Well, that's really cool, though. Yeah, definitely, like, if you are around, in, like, a stream after you do it, I'd love to see more. Oh, fuck! Pointer cast only works on shared pointers. What do I do? Okay, do I make a union? Pass pointer to record. U pointer. Node meta entry A. U pointer. Node meta entry B. Pass pointer to record. Dot A is equal to rec. Dot B. Oh, STD move. And then I need to do another STD move. Oh no, that didn't work. Why? No viable conversion to... Oh, node meta record entry. I'm so sorry I did this. Oh, wait, hold on. I don't even think this will work, because U-pointer doesn't... U-pointer doesn't have move semantics, or copy semantics. Oh, okay. What do I do here? I guess I can make it a shared pointer, and then I can make it unique. Because I need to cast it. Sorry, absolutely, what is the project you're working on? I'm working on a Voxel Game engine. I've been working on it for the last 5 years. It's called Zephyr. It is written in C++, and all of the world content and everything is defined in JavaScript, including like the player character, like all of these movements and everything are running in JavaScript. And the idea is that if all of the engine stuff is in C++, runs really fast, and if all of the content is in JavaScript, then you can send any game content from any server to any client without having to worry about malicious code. Which means that you can just join any modded server and get all of the content and just play without any complexities. It also just makes the game really easy to mod, and it makes the modding like an official part of the API. I'll be developing the game using the exact same mod API as people that want to mod the game, which means that mods will be officially supported, so it won't be like Minecraft where every major version mods just all implode. Yeah, this looks dope, thank you. Yeah, so I'm in pretty late stages of developing the engine. The engine's close to done, but I'm in very early stages of making my game. Like, this is mostly placeholder content. Like, I like some of these textures, don't get me wrong. I like the grass textures and stuff, but, like, this is only a fragment of what I actually want the game to be. What are the blue streaks on the ground? That's just, me testing procedural generation stuff. It was mainly, just testing different like grass types and blend textures, and that's kind of broken right now, don't worry about that. But like testing how the blocks blended into each other here as well. Yeah, it's mostly just placeholder stuff though. I was testing these big mountains as well. I don't render the top of blocks. I have a level of detail system, so the game always assumes you're down there right now. It doesn't move with the player, so it doesn't render the top of these faces because they're far enough up that you won't be able to see them. So it can save on memory by just not generating them. And then similarly over here, everything becomes low detail. So like we go from having these kind of 3D grass models with like the poofy textures to just like solid cuboids. And that's all just meant to allow for really high render distances, hopefully. I want to get like a full-on level of detail system too, where like even further out blocks will start scaling down. So like you'll have one block in the distance that represents like a 2x2 of blocks, and then a 4x4, and then etc. Do I have lights or ambient occlusion? I have a fairly complex lighting system that I'm working on that isn't currently active. And then I did have screen space ambient occlusion, and I will be re-implementing that. But not world space ambient occlusion. I have like an old video actually here. I can pull up like a Tumblr video of the lighting system. Let's see, it's like all the way at the bottom. Yeah, so this was an example of like a nighttime scene with blue lights in the environment. I think there's also some footage of it in my YouTube video, if you did want to look at that. I want to make a larger video about how the lighting engine works, but I've just got a few issues with light removal right now. I know how to solve them, but it's just going to be very annoying too, so I'm avoiding it. But once I get that done, I want to make a video about how I did this light propagation, because I'm really proud of it, because it creates like more spherical lights than traditional Minecraft lighting. Like they're kind of octagonal, but that's like still a lot more axes, right? And it can also be colored. And they can be bigger than Minecraft lights, like they can extend out to like 32 by 32, and I'm very satisfied. Or I think it's 64 by 64. Oh god, so many messages. This is a beast of a project, I wish you the best of luck with it. Thanks. I might need it, honestly. I really want to get this engine to like stable levels so I can actually start making videos about my game, because like, I love getting the developer community interested in this stuff, because, you know, developers might be modders, and also developers are also gamers. They will, like, people that make games want to play games, and I just like talking to people about technical stuff. But also, I do really need to get the attention of, like, normal people that are gonna play games too if I want this game to actually succeed. And right now, since I've just got an engine with, like, no game content, I can't really make compelling videos about it as a game. So I'm really trying to cram to get the engine done so I can start making cool game stuff. Because I have a lot of ideas for the gameplay itself. I just haven't been able to implement any of them yet because it's like super work in progress. Screen space ambient occlusion is always annoying because of the cache coherency on the GPU. I don't really know what that means. I'd love if you told me though. That looks really good. I came from the Bindless Texture Array video and was amazed by the look of your game. You made an awesome voxel engine. Thank you so much. I have this, like, insecurity that people are gonna see my game and just think, oh, Minecraft clone. And, like, I know right now, relatively, it does look like a Minecraft clone. Like, it's mostly voxel models. There's not really that much that's happening here. I do have, like, big plans for, like, distinguishing it art style-wise from Minecraft, for sure. But I haven't really executed those yet. And I do get a little bit worried that when I show early versions of my game, people just immediately write it off as like some sort of soulless clone or something, when in actuality I have like a really, really different end goal and destination in mind that I think will be very interesting and unique. Something tells me you really like Minecraft, but you eventually reached a point where too many things were frustrating about Minecraft and your brain went, screw this, I'll make my own Minecraft with cool lighting and actual mod support. How did you know? Excuse me. Yeah, so I think Minecraft was the first video game that actually sparked my imagination. It was when I was like 10. My friend showed it to me when it was back in beta, and like the very first thing he showed me was some like Plains mod. I think it was like a really old version of Plans mod. And not only was I just amazed by the game in general, because I just thought it was so cool, and it was my first experience with any sort of sandbox game, but also the idea of other people being able to add their own stuff to the game, like the Plains, was just so cool to me. Like, I was like, wow, this is so interesting. Like, not only can you make stuff in the game, but you can also add new stuff to the game. And so, like, for a couple years there, I wanted to just make mods for Minecraft, right? And which is why I started to learn Java when I was 10, and then failed because I was 10. And then I took a break. I did some work on like my own projects in Game Maker Studio, and then eventually when I sort of started looking back at maybe making mods again, I was like, I kind of want to make my whole like game, right? But at the time, I didn't really want to. I didn't really want to like commit to making my own engine, so I did a lot of messing around with Mindtest. I don't know if you're aware of what Mindtest is, but it's basically it's very similar in concept to what I'm doing here. It's an engine that uses a scripting language to define all of the content. It's free and open source as well, which is very cool, but also leads to very, very slow development. And in my opinion, they've made a lot of design decisions that are just completely impossible to fix. Like, they don't have multi-dimension support. The only coordinate system is a 3-dimensional vector. There's just no way they could ever add dimensions in a way that wouldn't break every mod that already exists, and they refuse to do that. There's, like, infinite backwards compatibility with Mindtest, which is very respectable, but the fact that it was designed with those constraints implicit into it kind of screws with it. Also, there's just a lot of stuff. It still doesn't have good client-side mod support, so every mod is kind of like a plugin, in that it only runs in the server. And there's just a lot of jank that I didn't want to deal with, and I didn't want to fix, and I just wanted to make my own thing. I wanted to like make my own engine from scratch, know that it was my infrastructure from the ground up. If there's something stupid, I know how to fix it because I wrote it, you know? And so that was what started this terrible journey. But I'm really enjoying it, like in all seriousness. I joke about it being the worst decision I've ever made because I've spent over 5 years on one project, but it's opened so many doors for me, and I really like working on it. And one day I think it will actually get to be something that people can play, and I'm really excited for that day. Yeah. Oh, Jasper says, basically what the GPU doesn't like is when you sample, random patterns are far away from the pixel the fragment shader is working on. I was getting some really interesting, like, lag spikes when I was working with screen-space ambient occlusion in OpenGL, where, like, it would be fine until I got really close to a face, and then it would start getting really laggy. And I'm not sure why that happened. That could be the locality thing you're mentioning there, but I'm not entirely sure. If you know, like, if there's a better way to do screen-space ambient occlusion, or just ambient occlusion in general, do let me know. Like, I know Minecraft uses baked ambient occlusion, and I was considering doing that a little bit, but I really want to, like, allow for seamless transitions between blocks and entities, because I want to be able to have block entities exist, kind of like Valkyrian Skies, but, like, integrated properly into the engine in a way that's not going to cause a million edge cases. That's not to diss on Valkyrian Skies, like, it's an incredible, incredible mod, but it's working within the constraints of Minecraft, and Minecraft does not like what it's trying to do. But, like, I really want things to be able to convert from being locked into the world to being entities without any visual artifacting. So I want to be able to have... Well, that's not right. I want to be able to have proper screen-space ambient occlusion that can affect entities as well. Was I sampling at a fixed world space distance based on the normals in a hemisphere? So that is what I initially thought about, like, when you just said that it doesn't like when you sample things far away. But I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it was sampling in screen space, because it was a post-processing effect. Like, maybe I fucked up the coordinates? Like, that's totally possible, but just, like, my gut is telling me no, that's not what I was doing. It's also very clear you're super passionate about this and are very genuine, which is awesome. I'm really glad that I guess I come off that way, because I do think I am very genuine about this. Like, I try not to sort of, like, present any emotions on stream or just when I'm working on things in general that aren't how I feel. Yeah, there's a lot of, like, baggage around the idea of making a voxel game. There's a lot of, like, assumptions that you're doing it to, like, play off of the Minecraft trend. But, like, I think it's almost this thing where, like, Minecraft is, like, almost 15 years old now? It's, like, 13 or something? Like, it is at the point that pixel art, like, and NES and SNES style games were when people started making those in the modern era. Like, it's weird because, like, obviously voxel games now have a lot more shared design identity with Minecraft than pixel art games in the present have to do with, like, SNES games a lot of the time. But, like, Minecraft created an entire genre of experience, an entire, like, category of visuals almost. Like, the voxels became the next pixel in the sense that, like, it became a way of conveying information, not just, like, a single art style for a single game. And I think that like kind of creates like this sort of interesting thing where like I think a lot of the voxel game projects that are happening now aren't so much like some sort of cash grab or manipulation because Minecraft was successful, but people like me whose first experiences or foundational experiences with games was Minecraft that want to make something like that of their own that is like an interesting and compelling, unique thing. Not at all, and especially given the way the Minecraft devs treat their player base, it's definitely left an opening for new voxel-style games to come out and challenge them. Do your thing and rock this project. I'm definitely excited to see how your project progresses. Sorry, I'm being a little bit like, you're making me feel happy, and I'm just at a loss for words. I want to make a game that people like, and I want to make a game that people can create. But like, I don't want to just create a game that is just a thing for people to create in. Like, I know there's like a trend recently of games as experiences, where like, you know, stuff like Roblox and all of the imitators that have been coming out recently, because a bunch of people realize that, hey, it's a lot easier to just make a framework for children to make games in and then steal the money that they should probably be getting because they're children. But I don't know. That's very scummy, in my opinion. There's been a lot of stuff that's been happening like that recently. And that's not my goal. I'm not trying to make an experience where people make all the content for me. I want to make a game, and because I've got so many ideas for different voxel games that I want to make, because this has just dominated my brain for my entire life, I wanted to make an engine where I could make multiple games. I wanted to like share the basis of what I can do, and then like so I can make more things with this one engine than just one game. And then scope creep got to me, and I was like, well, if I'm making this engine, and it's supposed to be able to handle any sort of voxel game, maybe I should just make it even better and let anyone make any sort of voxel game. And that's where everything went wrong in my life. But that's really the motivation here. It's like, I'm not making this just as a experience platform. I'm making it to make my own stuff, and I feel like if I'm doing all that, then I want people to also be able to make their stuff in it as much as I can allow them to, because I know there's tons of people like me that want to make voxel games, you know? And I think that's really cool. Adoring fans is good take. Thank you. I know that, like, it's not exactly a hot take. I think there's been a lot of conversation going on recently about how soulless games as experiences are nowadays, but I mean, I definitely agree with it, and given that I'm making something that could be construed as that, I think it's helpful to declare what I feel about that early on. And like, to be clear, I absolutely want people to make games in my engine, and I absolutely want people to play those games. Like, I think that's awesome. It's just, that's not the angle that I'm coming at making this game with, right? I'm doing it to make a game, not to make a thing where I can make money from other people making games of it. What the fuck was I doing? Oh yeah, okay. Right, so currently we have a problem, which is that there's no static pointer cast, or dynamic pointer cast that casts a unique pointer down to a subtype. And I can't just pass and rec, right? It won't downcast on its own. No viable conversion from uPointer node meta entry to uPointer node meta record entry. Oh, good. So I can do some stupid pointer stuff. Let's do this. Template IO. I'm not gonna do this template type. I'm literally just gonna call it downcast, and it's gonna take a uPointer of node meta entry. It's gonna output a uPointer of node meta record entry. It's really interesting to hear your approach, to hear about your approach to game design and where you're coming from on this. My sort of approach to game design was kind of just been, I want to make a game that I would enjoy playing, and if other people enjoy playing it too, great. Always down for stupid pointer stuff as long as it works. It can't be that stupid, right? I don't know if that's right, but I will agree with it for my own sanity. As far as the game design stuff goes, I definitely agree, like, my idea for my game is something I want to experience and play, right? And obviously I think that is the only way that you can really make a game as an individual, is if it's something you want to play, right? Like, you should be the most passionate person in the world for your game. Because you have, like, the deepest connection to it out of anyone. At least that's kind of my thoughts. Just like, my thing was, if I'm putting all this effort into making this engine so I can make these games that I care honestly about, then may as well let other people do it too. And also, coming from the Minecraft scene, I absolutely loved seeing mods for Minecraft, and I think it would make me melt in my seat if I saw people making mods for a game I made. And if I've got this infrastructure already, like, you know, I may as well let people do that, and maybe it'll happen, and maybe it'll be cool. And maybe I'll actually appreciate those developers, unlike Mojang, which basically sees them as like, oops, I guess they exist and we can't get rid of them because they're 90% of the reason why our game is popular, but we don't actually like them. Fucking Mojang. I hate the way they handle their community. It's so gross. Okay. Let's toss that in. Okay, so what we're gonna do, I need to get the raw pointer. Raw casted is going to be in.get. Then we're gonna go .as node meta record entry pointer. Oh, this is a pointer. Hold on, I need to okay, that's our raw pointer. Then we need to go in dot release, and I think this will I think this gets rid of the hold from this unique pointer. Let me check. I'm gonna check the C++ docs. Release returns a pointer to the manage object and releases the ownership. Cool. So that's what we want. So actually I should just do in.release here. Cool. So this is gonna get us the pointer. Stop this pointer from deleting the value when it gets destructed because we've released its hold. Now we're gonna return uPointer with raw casted in it. Node meta record entry. I think that'll do it. I think that'll downcast it properly. Oh! Huh. Your message got blocked for bullying because you said the word fellow. Hold on, I'm gonna let that through. That's strange. Thank you, Twitch, I guess. I have to dip out for now because I'm watching a movie with a friend in about 30 minutes and need to make some food before that. Godspeed and good luck to you, fellow traveler. Thank you! And good luck to you as well! If you ever want to show off your game project or anything, I do have a Discord. The link's in, like, the bottom right, and I would love to chat more and see the stuff that you're working on. Hey there, Real Iron Duck! Yeah, no, I have no idea. It said blocked for bullying, and I was like, okay. Sure, I guess. Minecraft is just a good starting format to make games with. That's kind of what I agree with. Like, it kind of became its own platform inadvertently of people making mod packs that, in my opinion, are so much more impressive than what the base game is. They suffer a lot from, like, design coherency and a lot of other issues, but, like, they have so much more interesting ideas, you know? Like, Minecraft has always been a thing that's been about other people making their own stuff in it. So, like, I feel less bad about making my own non-Minecraft thing that's based on Minecraft, I guess. And also, like, I do feel like I have a lot of original ideas that are going to distinguish it from Minecraft when it's done, hopefully. Yeah. What was I doing? Oh god, I missed a really old message from Jaspers. It can still be screen space, but it just means the sample position is offset by the normal and we project. You're talking about the screen space ambient occlusion. Yeah. Okay, so no, I think I understand what you're saying, and no, I don't think I was sampling at world space. I think I was just sampling in screen space. Like, although maybe that's not true. No, you might be right. It's been a long time since I wrote that shader. It might have been in world space, which would explain why it got laggy when I got close. Yeah, I don't know how to fix that, like with screen space ambient occlusion. I don't know. I'll think about it a bit more. I'm not that much of a graphics person, like I know a decent bit, but like some of the advanced techniques are a little bit, like unintuitive to me. But yeah, this horrible downcast I wrote, this works. So we can actually run this thing and see what happens. I guess I need to actually make it create this object first. Let's go to the item at its interface. Okay, we have the meta spec, and now let's go meta equals node meta def interface. This needs to be a static. Hold on. Yeah, to actually use it. I guess I don't need to put static in here, do I? But this also needs to be static. Downcast is a scary word. Why is it a scary word? There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing dangerous at all about downcasting. Yeah, I know. But in this case, it's not a problem because I literally confirmed that it is this type right here. It's just that, you can't dynamic cast unique pointers apparently in C++. I thought you could, but apparently you can't, which means I need to do this, which is dumb. I'll probably add my own helper for, like, type ambivalent downcasting of unique pointers at some point. Yeah, SSAO is just annoying most of the time, either slow artifacts or trade-offs like it only working on the voxel grid and not with moving stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I'll figure something out. Okay. Let's see if this runs. I guess we won't actually be able to see what happens. We'll just see if it doesn't crash. Oh, hold on. I've got a compile time issue. What the fuck is happening? Oh, hold on. I need to reload CMake. CMake. I don't actually know how to do that. I used to use, fucking C-Line. What if I click this? Delete cache and reconfigure? Yeah. That probably did it. Okay, let's try now. Because, yeah, oh, it's gonna do a clean build. God damn it. Whatever. I dynamically or statically link Vulkan, so it spits out all these errors about Vulkan, and I haven't figured out yet how to suppress it. Also, I think it builds fast noise or something. My whole project structure is shit. I never really learned how to do proper C++ dependency management. So I'm just kind of flying by the seat of my pants, and it doesn't work very well, but yeah. But hopefully this should build. The reason that the build didn't work is because I added a new file, and I'm using globs for finding all the files in the project. I've got define let auto and define CNS const auto, although I do want to change it to let and mute, where let is the constant one. My C++ code is a bit horrible. I don't blame you if you judge me for it, although I will say this is a personal project, and I'm just trying to do whatever's most ergonomic for me, so... Oh shit, okay. Interesting. Define var auto, define let const auto. I don't like the word var because I come from JavaScript where it's like super deprecated, but yeah. Why is some of my stuff just not working anymore? It's very strange. Maybe it's because this is const for some reason. This always used to work. Like, hold on, if I search my system for this... Yeah, args here. This is just something. It's an array, I guess. right here, there's a string. This is an object. Oh, maybe I do need to actually cast it as like a proper object though. Because it is just a local value. Let's see. That might be it. But because my room is so hot, like, the leather seat I'm sitting on is also hot, and it's driving me insane. Oh, it built! But it crashed. Typed array is unimplemented. Oh. Wait, do I have a typed array in my test file? Yes. Okay. No. Go away. Alright. Don't crash? It didn't crash! Okay. Holy shit. Guys, did I actually write code that worked? Like, kind of? Oops. Kill that. Go back here. Alright, let's run this in debug real quick and inspect the actual object. I think I can do that. Debug. If I go to the item atlas interface, and then put a breakpoint here. Let's see if we can do that. It's gonna be another full build, but hopefully it should be faster because it's in debug mode. What is your expected build time / lines of code? For an iterative build, I expect like probably 5 to 10 seconds. For a clean build, it's like a minute and a half or so. I think I've got about 70,000 lines of code in this project. There's a lot of files, like a lot of files. I guess that's mod code, but there's a lot of files. Building. Okay. Can I inspect? This should freeze at some point. Where's the breakpoint? What? Why did the... Oh, because I need to actually run it in debug mode, of course. A minute seems long for 70k lines. I don't know. Is that long? This is my only C++ project I've ever done, so maybe. Okay, we hit the breakpoint. Let's look at what meta has in it. Maybe. Okay. Meta has a def, and it has a node meta entry with type set to record. Wow! Okay. Cast down is just a utility. It doesn't matter. Values. Okay, we have... Oh, this is so cool to see. So this is the info that it started with, right? Each of these things is just like a static or a constant record, right? And then these are utility functions for generating types. And we're converting them into C++ representation here to actually be able to serialize JavaScript metadata as binary and then cast it back. So we have our top level, which is a record. It's this whole record. And then it's got the orientation property here, which the type is an I32. Success, okay. I'm gonna make this call stack, it doesn't matter. Second value is structures, which is a array. Oh, but it's not... Huh. It's not flagging it as a node meta array entry. Oh, because... That's probably just the debugger. Let me check though. I'm assuming it knows that it's of whatever type it is here because this def explicitly has this type constraint on it. But technically, if I go to like node meta types, where is it? Jesus, I'm so lost in my own code base. Nothing makes sense. What file even is this? Node meta atlas. Okay. Where is it now? Node meta entry. Okay, yeah, node meta array entry is what this should be. Does record entry break the type def? Node meta record entry, no, it has U pointers. Does the code here fuck it up if it's an array? Typed array. Array, okay. Node meta array entry. Okay, so that looks like it's working. Unless for some reason it's not catching that it's an array. Let's go creating array value. Let's just quickly see if that actually appears in the console. Because if it does appear in the console, that means the debugger is just kind of dumb. And if it's not in the console, that means our code is kind of dumb. Okay, creating array value. Okay, that's fine. Because yeah, we know that it created the array, because it does create a node meta array entry. It's just that because it's being put in a vector of U pointers of node meta entries, it seems like the debugger isn't smart enough to know that it's actually the subtype, which is unfortunate, but not that big of a deal. It didn't crash, so we know it worked. Yeah. God, in debug mode, this whole thing's so fucking slow. Let's go back to release mode. Oh, yeah. Remake release. The configure. Nope, I don't know how to do that from the tools list. Actually, rel with debug info, please. Okay, this can close. Yeah, okay. That might be about where I stop for today. I went a little overtime. Usually I do 2-hour streams because I get very hungry if I stay here for too long. But this has been 3 hours! Oh my god! I just got really into, like, getting this working, which is exciting. So... yeah, I'll probably wrap up here. Is there any more questions or things you want to talk about before I disappear? This is your only C++ project. Your first project's a Vulkan engine. Technically, my first project was an OpenGL engine. And then, like, 2 months ago, I ripped out all the OpenGL code and swapped it with Vulkan. Which is probably worse. But yes, this is my first and only C++ project ever. I guess I've done, like, a little bit of C++ for school later. But... yeah. I have an unfortunate habit of taking the most insane possible idea I could do and just throwing my head against the wall until it works. But, I mean, I think it's made a pretty cool thing overall, so... yeah. But yeah, so today what we did was, we got the type structures that are able to be made in TypeScript now. With these, like, basically, like, type signatures here, so, like, number, or string, or whatever. And you can create like, a meta type, and then pass it into the game as a property. And then the game can now parse that and create a structure of it in C++, which we will now, in the future, be able to use to actually parse values out of JavaScript into efficient binary representations. And then we'll be able to drag them out of binary and back into JavaScript, hopefully, afterwards. The specification system is useful, not just for that, but also because it allows us to not duplicate layout information for every block. Because, like, so for example, in MineTest, it has metadata, but it just encodes the entire, like, object you pass as, like, a JSON string and stores it on the block, which means that if you have a bunch of keys in there, then all those key names are in every single block that has metadata, which is really gross. Having the metadata be a thing where there's a specification allows us to just store the values per block. Oh, fuck. My earbuds just died completely. That's not nice. Done. Swap out with the other earbuds I have. Is that... There we go. Cool. Yeah, so, it allows us to only store the values, right? Which is very nice for memory efficiency. It also allows us to make type assumptions, or assertions, I guess, about what's in our blocks, which, from a developer standpoint, like for a mod developer / game developer in this engine, I think that's just useful in general. Dynamic typing is cool, but when it comes to data storage, and like where you don't necessarily know what the data is going to, or how far in the future you're going to need to read the data from when you first set it, having it be a fixed type is very nice, in my opinion. And then finally, I guess, like, the final benefit is that this lets us make sort of intuitive use of fixed size array types in JavaScript, the typed arrays. Like the uint8s and uint16s and whatever arrays, which, fun fact, if you're not a JavaScript dev, the only way you can have an integer in JavaScript is if you have it in an int8 or an int32 array. Every other time it's a float. The only typed, like, integer values are in the int arrays because they're used for interfacing with native code. Which is good for us, because we use a lot of native code here, because this is an API that interfaces with C++, but holy shit, why isn't there just an integer type in JavaScript? I don't know the answer, but, that's just the way it is. But yeah, honestly, like, I know, it was, like, a lot of kind of bumbling around and being confused, but I feel like we accomplished a lot today. Like, the diff has, let's see, it's a small diff. That is actually just me showing off the format here. That should not be in there. Let's see. But yeah, there's a lot of new stuff in the TypeScript stuff. There was a lot of code in Node metadef, a little bit of code in item atlas interface, a lot of code in Node metadef interface. I think that it was pretty good. I think that we did a decent amount of stuff. Pushplay says, have you done much work on noise / terrain generation? I don't have much, like, professional experience with it, but I have done, like, a little bit. Like, all of this terrain here is procgen. I'm using the fast noise library for C++, which is, like, a node-based noise module system, which is really cool. And I've exposed that entire library effectively to JavaScript. So, mods can define biomes with their own terrain generation, which is what I've done here. This is like a biome defined in JavaScript with noise modules defined in JavaScript that gets converted into C++ modules and then ran by a multi-threaded map generator. I know a fair bit about how, like, mapgen works, but I'm not super proficient on the specifics yet, I'd say. Darksoon says, there's now a big int type, although it's its own can of worms. Yeah, big ints. Oh, big ints. I am horrified by their existence. They're like, it's cool to have a variable length int type, but the fact that they're considered a heap allocated object to JavaScript is just, that's just, wow. I don't know. That's kind of awful in every conceivable way. That's like, they said, oh, we need an integer type for something, let's make it the worst possible integer type we could ever have. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of experience with noise and terrain gen. There's so many ways to use noise. Noise is, like, incredible. I love noise gen. It's so cool and it's so exciting. Something I want to do soon is get, like, cave generation working, because, like, right now, I could just add, another noise module to the chain that just does, like, cave-type structures. But if I were to do that, then we get grass and plants and stuff in caves, because there's not really any concept of what the surface is. There's not really any concept of what the surface is other than just, does it have air above it, right? Which is good for overhangs and stuff, but I think I need some separate way of defining that, like, we're gonna carve out the world afterwards, like after we define what the surface is, and that's gonna be cave layer. I do have 3D noise. There is some 3D noise. Like, there are some slight overhangs and stuff here. This is just a mostly 2D noise, type, setup of nodes. But, like, my bigger concern is, like, yeah, if I like, carve holes into the ground with the map generator, it's going to put like grass and plants on them because it thinks it's a surface. I need to have some metric that allows you to say like, oh, create the surface and then carve out the caves, and then the caves are not the surface and have their own like terrain fill and stuff, and I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do that yet. Darksoon says... Oh wait, hold on, wait. There's a message. Oh yeah, Committee of One said, you can't really grow your integer without heap allocation, and it's necessary if we want the biggest of ints, and I want the biggest of ints. Surely though, like, it shouldn't be copy by reference. Like, the V8 engine can optimize it and store a reference on the heap, but having it be a referenced, like a heap-allocated JavaScript object, where it's, like, copied by reference, just violates everything that I think is good and holy. But also just, like, it's a terrible regular integer. Like, if you just want to store an integer value, it's not very good at that. It's very slow compared to, like, the native float type. And yes, I know that V8 technically will coerce certain things to integers until you do a floating point operation on them, but, like, that's also not a great solution. It's very inconsistent and engine-specific, and it's impossible to actually introspect on and see if it's an int or a float. All this to say, I'm really excited for when the WASM layer works and I can write my mods in Rust. That's really the takeaway here from me. Yeah. But, yeah, I think I'm probably gonna head out now and get some lunch because I'm hungry. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. If you want to catch another stream, I stream every week on Saturday, noon PST, on both Twitch and YouTube. I also have a Discord. I'll shove the link in the chat because I need to shill the socials, otherwise what I'm doing, right guys? I have a Discord. Where there's a lot of cool people that like to chat about video game stuff. You could be one of them. We could talk about game dev, about projects. I post announcements for streams and future videos and stuff there, so, you know. Yeah, and other than that, thank you so much for hanging out with me. It was really fun chatting with all of you. It was cool that, like, I think a lot of you were here for the whole stream. It was like a continual conversation. I think that was really nice. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, other than that, I'll see you next week. Thanks for everyone stopping by. Bye all!